ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
You ain't first, last. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Welcome to Brews and Reviews with Mick and Pat. I'm Mick.
And I'm Pat.
And each week we sit down with you degenerates to pretend we're certified cicerones and cinephiles.
That is right. So grab a cold one and join us as we review Trve Brewing's Bloodaxe and True Detective Night Country Season 4, Part 5.
And if you've been with us before, you know what time it is.
Release the Kraken!
Trve Brewing.
What a metal, one of the most metal labels they've got. You know what I mean?
This one and Skull Seeker are like the just real deal. Harnessing that inner aggression that lives within man. Because once again, we have a matte black can with some artwork. And on here we've got, in the background, a crescent moon.
Just like tonight.
And there's some red in here. Some red accents. There's been a lot of green accents last few years, but this one's got the red. It's what do they say about red? It's like the most, incites the most emotion in people.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And there's this, kind of severed zombie hand.
Kind of looks like a zombie lady hand, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit feminine on the pointy nail, and it's holding a inverted axe.
Yeah, like Viking with the Viking
style.
Engraving.
Mm-hmm. And it appears to have been thoroughly
Celtic.
used.
Yeah, it's seen some stuff, a little chipped.
And I think the handle is a bone.
Oh yeah, looks like a femur.
Yeah. The handle is a bone, so that's a little bit crazy.
It's a Nordic style ale brewed with grains of paradise and orange peel. Dude, I'm dyslexic in my brain. Someone write in and tell me what the condition is where I mix up the letters in my words.
This one is an ale. It's got the Troubadour Truth and Antero malts. The hops being Magnum. And the adjuncts, we haven't seen any adjuncts on any of their beers yet, was orange peel and grains of paradise. So,
what's an adjunct? I think of just like adjunct professor.
Yeah, and I think of it's like, is that a part of speech? I don't know. But
I'll look it up.
An adjunct. What is the word adjunct? So we're probably kind of have like I'm assuming kind of like a blood orange ale type thing going on. Even though they don't say blood orange on here.
I don't think it is.
It's not.
I don't think it is. I'll tell you that. If that is what they're going for, it don't taste like it. But adjuncts are anything added beyond what is considered the basic beer recipe of malt, hops, yeast, and water. Anything added in after that is not a version of those is considered an adjunct. Which... there's a lot of things that are technically versions of water you could get away with.
This is true. That's good. I just took my first sip. Have you had this one before?
Ask me that on the show, dude? Yeah, no, I've had this one about 3 or 4 times. But I got to get a good picture here.
Oh, yeah.
I've been updating our socials with the latest reviews, and I had to fix them because I realized I did my math wrong earlier. And Untapped, I got an achievement for like blurry-eyed vision or something like that because it said you're either blasted or having tasters because I changed 15 reviews and I updated 15 reviews in one day.
Oh yeah.
So
that's what the little award they gave you was for just being a fiend reviewing out there.
But it's got this really beautiful, not brown, not golden, just like honestly orange.
Mm-hmm.
Like orange, like streetlight orange.
Yeah.
You know, like we all call it the yellow light, but it's actually orange, and that's kind of the color it is.
It is. And I don't know if have we had a Nordic styled ale on here before? We had something else styled.
No, we've never had Einstock or any of the versions of Einstock.
So I wonder what makes a Nordic style ale a Nordic style ale. And
probably the blood.
Yeah, let's say, is there real blood of enemies in here? What's the deal with that? Did you have any Nordic styled ales over in
Iceland?
Yeah,
I had a lot.
Yeah.
There was we went to a couple bars where there were even local breweries in Iceland and sampled their stuff.
So this is from the interwebs, and it says the Nordic ale, a malt forward drink with a redolence of juniper and a wood smoked flavor. Only tradition can create. So I guess I don't know.
Smoky? I don't know much beer that goes for smoky.
Yeah, me neither.
Wood smoked flavor.
I
kind of taste it though, I think, a little bit. But you know what will really bring it out?
The old swish test. Certainly should.
The push it through your teeth test.
I even thought about it to try to say the right one. I wasn't trying to get you. I was just trying to say the correct one.
Alrighty, take a tablespoon amount of the beer and let it roll over your tongue. Totally coat the tongue, every taste bud. And let it roll back down to your molars, and then swish it side to side between those molars. And then put your tongue against the roof of your mouth and push the beer in front of your tongue through the front of your teeth, through your front teeth. Oh, yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, just like that. Good, Pat. Good. And then that should really aerate it and bring out a lot of the flavors that might be hidden or more subtle. And while I do mine, Pat, tell me, what you getting? What you picking up?
I think I'm getting orange. I think the orange is coming through.
A lot more?
Yeah.
What about smoky, woody?
I don't know if that's just if I'm being influenced now by having read that. I do feel like I'm tasting some little bit of that, but I think it's just because I read that and now I'm thinking about something that's smoky. And once again with these beers, they're just smooth.
When you said orange in my mind, I was thinking orange peel, like an IPA,
like that bitter, numbing part of the orange peel.
But what I taste more is orange flesh.
Oh yes,
you know what I mean. It tastes it tastes way more like the flesh of the orange,
like an orange. Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy. That's not a taste I think is usually in beer. Wow, that's really weird. I'm shocked I haven't ever tasted that before. Like I said, I've had this about 3 or 4 times and I haven't ever noticed that. But
6% ABV. It's not super high, but also high for what I'm tasting. You know, it doesn't taste very high, but it tastes good. It tastes like you could just drink this all the time.
I caution against that. But...
I mean, I don't think you should, but it's just, it's good. What more can I say about Trve Brewing
I know,
Company?
dude, like slapping it out of the park. It's just brutal, dude, how good they are compared to everyone else. I'm sure people are like, God, I'm so sick of these shills every week shilling. And I'm just like, dude, look, it's good beer. What do you want me to say? I haven't had a bad beer by them. So, you know, not having a lot of Nordic style ale, I will say that this is, now that after tasting it and having it so many times, I kind of want to go back and try some Einstock. Excuse me, just to try some
side by side Pepsi challenge.
Because I do remember the Einstock being like having a sharp crispiness to it, but not bitter like IPA. You know, like way more of like in the vein of like a real Pilsner, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I think that was just like their flagship beer. But I do want to go through and see if like if there's any other kind of Nordic brewed beers that have that kind of smoky, because I think I do actually taste the smokiness now that I've kind of switched it around a couple times, you know. I think it's kind of there as an aftertaste, and I'm just not used to smokiness on my beer unless it's like a bad whiskey aged beer, and then it just tastes like smoky whiskey beer, and I don't like that flavor at all. But this is really good. I think I'm ready to rate it, Pat. What about you?
I'm really close.
You're really close to ready? You're giving this a thought?
Because I was trying to see what grains of paradise are. I'm just going to get through this. There's an article on if it's legal or not. I don't think that's right.
It is grainy.
Yes.
Like it is bready, actually. It's got a bready flavor to it.
It looks like peppercorn, has flavors of cardamom, coriander, citrus and ginger, and it's from West Africa.
And that's like the mixture known as grains of paradise?
Yeah.
But what crackhead down in Denver was like, hey, let's make a beer with this spice from Africa?
I don't know. But they're onto something.
You know, I say that, and that's probably really ignorant because I bet a majority of spices come from Africa. No, that's
probably a lot of
like I think about how much the Dutch were involved in Africa, and they owned the spice trade.
Like the amount of people who died over getting spice across the world at one point in time.
One of my favorite videos on the internets was this dude. I can't remember who it was. Was it Tom Scott? It was one of the science fact internet guys, and he broke down about like what your average like kitchen cabinet worth of spices, like what it is today in money and what it would have been like 200 years ago. And it's like each of us have like 100K in our cabinet right now, you know, just like in comparison to what it was worth back in the day.
We'd be living pretty. That's what I tell people that all the time, where I'm like, we don't realize that we eat better and live better
than kings.
Yeah,
each of us is a little king.
Most of the kings that ever existed, they don't have it as good as we do.
Yeah.
It's grains of paradise from Africa, West Africa, used in West and North Africa, and it's a species of the ginger family. So there you go. All right, I'm ready to rate.
Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution. Depending on what that was, were you going to give it a bad rating?
No, I just was wondering, like, is this like some special grain from the Norselands?
Yeah, okay.
Just North Africa.
All right, well, I think here's my biggest thing is like, because I haven't had a lot of Nordic style ale that I can recall the taste and profile of, that part's not really as much of a rating factor for me. I often think about like, is this a good representation of this beer type, or is this a good entry level beer, like a good first taste getting into this genre? And all that said, also like 2 thumbs up is just, you know, is it an excellent beer, even above that standard? Gosh, I'm gonna give it a thumb. And the reason I'm giving it a thumb is because the other beers that I gave 2 thumbs from Trve Brewing were above and beyond just simply great for their class. They were just also great, phenomenal beers. And this is a good beer, especially with as cold as it is. Like this beer is probably poured at like 40 degrees or something like that out of the fridge. So it's got a great flavor and crisp to it, but it's just overall not as good as those other ones that, like, dude, I just think about Dunwich.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, Dunwich was a 2-thummy beer, like through and through, without a doubt.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm 1 thumb. If I'd had a bunch of Nordic ales, maybe you could get a 2 thumb, but I haven't. I don't know of those. I'm going with a good solid 1 thumb.
Well, hey, there you go, Ken. There you go. Mick and Pat giving the Bloodaxe from Trve Brewing just 2 thumbs up, 1 from each of us, which is an excellent review. If you mathematically equate that to a 5-star, that comes out to 3.75 out of 5. So there you go. If no thumbs is 2.5, right? If no thumbs is your middle. So there you go. Almost a 4-star from us here. It's really good, but I just don't know enough about Nordic beer to say it's one of the best I've ever had. But it is a great beer, and you should get some. That's where I stand on it.
I agree.
Well, let's get into something that is not 2 thumbs out of 4.
2 thumbs out of 4.
Bro, dude,
they got their thumbs up there.
I got
up
bad
their rear
news.
ends on this
I got
one.
bad news for season 4 of True Detective, dog.
Oh yeah. So part 5, couple little things. Danvers fighting to stay on the case amid corporate and bureaucratic interference. Navarro faced with the burial of her sister, and how that can be a near-death experience, burying somebody.
Yep.
And Pete is forced to pick sides.
Really?
In a big old way.
Really forced to pick sides. Yeah, and I think, again, just more and more of the, like, just horsecock of, like, oh, what isn't in this town? You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing I see on the Reddit is, like, you know, this opens up with, like, a crematorium and Ennis, and also Billie Jean was like, you keep calling it Enos. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that his name? She's like, no, it's not Enos, like penis. It's Ennis, like menace. And I was like, oh, I guess that's true.
And in the opening scene with the crematorium, the lady who handed her the urn said something along the lines of, don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone I let you watch.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I wasn't sure what I wasn't sure what, if it was like, I thought maybe it was for like pets. I wasn't really.
No.
I was like, did they just, what's going on? So
like,
anyways.
There's people I was looking online who were like, yeah, I wasn't even like, I didn't even live in like middle of nowhere bum crud Alaska. And we didn't have a hospital like this. Like we didn't have, you know, any like crematorium. And like a lot of people, I just realized this, for anything that's like absolute tier 1 triage, such as necrosis, limbs being cut off, stuff like that to try to save someone's life, the highest likelihood is that they're getting flown to Seattle.
Yeah.
Because that's the closest tier 1 hospital, tier 1 triage hospital. And so, which I think, I only know about like the triage hospitals. I thought there would have been one in Alaska, just for Alaska, Canada stuff. But I only know about that because here in northern Colorado, we get a lot of flights in from like Montana and the Dakotas, because we have the closest tier 1 triage hospital for like everyone north of us.
Right.
So I just thought that was interesting of how far sometimes people fly to get to the like medevac, like high facility.
Right.
But anyways, so it was just more like kind of bull crap that I was just like, is it unbelievable that they have a crematorium? No, but like that stacked up on top of everything, and like just all the other things that I think people have been pointing out, like no matter where they go, there's cell service. And I'm just like, yeah, that is one thing I do remember about my time in Alaska. Like, and I was a tourist, and like literally 5 minutes outside of Fairbanks, there was like no service.
Just use the radios. It adds more dynamic to a show.
For real.
And people don't complain.
Yeah. But anywho's, so we see Danvers pretty much losing full control of the investigation when it comes to Connolly taking sides. She tells, hey, you know what? We were following this lead from this crackhead Otis, who told us the mines were here. The intro was blown out. That's why we were looking, and we believe Annie K was murdered there. It was just like wow, maybe be a detective and keep shit close to your chest, dog. Yeah. Like, I can't tell you how many like times I've heard detectives be like, yeah, there's times where like even my like closest supervisor does not know what they don't need to know about the case. Because honestly, like at the end of the day, like this is why I like sheriff departments a little bit more too. Sheriff department's elected, and it's a little bit harder to stiff them over than a police chief.
Yep.
And I know there's probably a lot of people who are police chiefs or something who are complaining, but I've yet to meet a retired police officer who doesn't think like the way a police chief is employed at whim by a city council and stuff is a problem. Like every single retired police officer I've ever spoken to is like, yeah, honestly, the biggest issue is that police chief at the end of the day, he serves the mayor. He does not serve the like people usually. Like his job is at behest of a city council or mayor. And so like when I see like Connolly like just cracking down, I'm also like, the hell does he have any authority up here? Like, what is this? How is this the police department set up where he can be in a whole nother city and be chief of this like police department? It was really confusing to me. It didn't add up.
I think where they probably didn't explain it was that somehow the mine is going to be backing his run for mayor, like that they've alluded to.
He shouldn't have any authority over Danvers to tell her the investigation is
right, even
over.
in general. Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
And so that's why I'm just like confused about it. But anyways, so Danvers reveals everything to the people who probably have the most to lose. And of course they're like, well, you're done.
Yeah.
Well, you're done. And they come up with like, honestly, like not even something that I think anyone at home could even possibly entertain. Like, yeah, don't you know they're all killed by a sudden avalanche?
Yeah.
What? What? Dude,
there's an avalanche coming. Quick, get naked and fold your clothes up.
Do you have eyes? They were terrified, piled on top of each other. You know what I mean? And I guess I just thought that was bad writing and lazy. But most of the show is. Most of season 4 is bad writing, I think. And I'm tearing into it pretty hard, but I'll explain why later. I'm super mad about this season, especially like seeing how much happened in this episode that could have been shown more. Like, we got a pretty sweet, intimate moment of a flashback between Hank and Peter, where Hank's recalling how he literally saved his boy and pulled him out from underneath the ice.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like this dynamic of like Hank, you could tell, is just like, he's struggling, man. He's a man who's got nothing and has just been beaten down. And like this catfish Russian bride was, I think, the final straw, and you could tell he's just reminiscing about when he had someone who loved him, and he just doesn't feel like he's got it anymore.
Yep.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm trying not to like blow the cap off right here.
I kind of agree as far as the show has been copping out, doing a lot of the bare minimum of. That's how I feel. They've been doing the bare minimum on stuff, and the one thing that I noticed that I haven't liked about it is that they've had too many characters to develop.
Which is crazy, because that's one of the most biggest criticisms of season 2.
Just too many characters to involve. And you can have tons of characters in a show, but one thing that is key is that some people just need to be who they are. Like, they're,
I'm Chuck.
It's,
I'm the meat man.
Yeah, like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon is always just Commissioner Gordon. Yeah. You know where he stands. You know what he's going to do. You know what he's going to say. You don't need to develop the character much. He just is that. So you don't need to set up all these characters that have to unfold, and we have to learn about them, and they have to be developed. Just develop the main characters, and there has to be good character development of the main characters, but then keep some things as, keep some things staples, keep some things solid, so that you're not wasting your time chasing down all this stuff. And so,
yeah, I think I also just struggled with like, man, isn't this revealing that like what I wish I had the most of right now was more lead up and fleshing out of Peter and Hank's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
More fleshing out of Hank's stuff because, you know, and you shouldn't be listening to this if you haven't watched the episode, right? So spoilers. But Hank is approached by Kate McCormick, right? McCormick?
Something like that.
McKittrick, whatever.
Yeah,
from the mine.
The mine lady. The mine czar.
Yeah, she approaches Hank, and essentially it's revealed that she paid him originally to move Annie K's body from the mines where she likely was murdered and died. And that she's now paying him to get rid of Otis before Danvers and Navarro can follow Otis into the mines.
Yeah, and originally he was supposed to be paid by getting this spot of police chief.
Yeah.
And she did him dirty.
She did, which also makes you think, like, if Danvers is police chief, then really Connolly should have no say over her.
Right.
But if Connolly's technically police chief, then, like, McKittrick probably has no intentions of honoring whatever agreement she has with Connolly to keep him there. You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird to me. But all that said, I did think it was poorly telegraphed and not like a very well alluded and let up thing. Like, I think there should have been more alluding of him getting paid off and bribed and being dirtier than just this one scene of like, oh, he's actually, you know, real dirty. And I don't think he really tracked well with like his response to the Annie K documents being stolen, and all he does is smack Peter,
right,
and just kind of go ghost about it. Just, you know, stare 1,000-yard stare. You realize one day, son, blood's thicker than water, whatever, right? And I thought he probably should have been, I don't know, a little bit sneakier or elicit more of a concern. And someone might say, well, yeah, that would have given it away too early. And I was like, I don't think it did, because I think a lot of people thought this was coming anyways from what I read online.
Right.
So it's like, maybe it should have just been written better to be telegraphed a little bit better.
And to where we like, we're either torn more about like the ending of the episode or
what was the ending? Like, you go there.
Getting capped by his son.
Dude,
right. And
Hank's murdered by Peter, dude. Not murdered,
but
but
he's killed by his son.
Yeah.
And so they did do a little heartfelt story of him saving his boy, but then also like, so they either one should have made us more endeared to him to make like us more in Pete's shoes of this tearing decision, or also made the audience more like, oh no, this dude's bad. Like, this dude's no good. Because like a guy who honestly in a small podunk town moves, you know, gets convinced of this CEO of a mine, says, listen, here's the deal, man. It's horrible this woman was murdered here. If she gets found on site here, we're shut down for 3 months.
Yeah.
This town's in the crapper. It's almost Christmas season. Do you think that, you know, do you want kids to have gifts? Do you want lights shut off? You know, here's the deal. We need to move her out of there, and you're gonna, you know, move her out of there. We'll figure out who killed her. That's not good, but we can't have this here.
Yep.
And, you know, I think that you'd be a great person for police chief. I see you going really far. And you could see somebody getting talked into that and then doing this thing, and not as like a super nefarious bad person, right?
Which I think is like what they should have spent more time doing. Like, I think they should have spent more time showing us as like, dude, they should have shown us that he was Ray from season 2. Conflicted, damaged man between like two, you know, he not necessarily that it have to be like this, but like Ray was a man who was torn between like an absolute desire for justice, while that desire for justice manifested in violent means that made him hate himself and expect himself to be punished and brought to justice.
Right.
And at the same time, it was also very much about like very complex emotions of self-disdain versus affection for someone else, and taking out your self-disdain on someone you love. And all that said, he was a very complicated character. We totally knew Ray's a bad man. He was a good man too.
Yeah.
But he was also a bad man. And we all knew that watching it. I think Hank should have been that. I think Hank should have been the bad good man that we are just distraught when he makes his choice, knowing Peter's probably going to kill him. Because I think if he didn't think Peter was going to kill him, he wouldn't have said like his final words. His final words were very ominous.
Was that his way out?
I think it was.
You know, like
I think it was his way out, which was shitty. That's a shitty thing to do to your boy.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think we should have gotten more opportunities to see him break.
Like he should have been more up against the wall.
Yeah.
Like more to a point where like he had to, you know, like he's a man with no other, a man out of options. Right.
And all being like what we see him really get pushed up against the wall in is almost entirely this episode.
Right.
Like, yes, we see that he was led on, the love not manifest, but like that doesn't feel like it's over.
Right.
Like, especially his son reaches out to him and is like, Dad, can I live with you? Can I stay with you for a little while? Which, dude, also, F Danvers.
I know.
Peter, you can stay in my shack out back. You're not staying at your dad's. Literally uninsulated,
dude,
no furniture
that's like
shack.
the coldest spot in the world.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way, what's his name, shack? Hagak. There's no way Hagak's shack was frozen over with ice and Danvers' shack still has like wood showing. Like that was baloney. And like the way Peter walks in there and just sits down in the camping chair, like the fold out lawn chair, like, oh man, I guess this is where I'm gonna, this sucks. I'm like, you dumbass. Like go hang out with your dad, dude. Maybe if you were hanging out with your dad, none of this would have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just like, I don't know. All that said, I thought it was too little too late, not fleshed out enough. And it didn't serve up the shock that it could have.
Yeah.
I was still like, oh damn.
Yeah.
But I should have been like screaming.
Yeah, you should have been upset. Yeah. It was like, oh, yep, that happened.
Yep.
But you did get, as predicted, your big showdown at the mine. How did it leave you feeling?
Did I get a showdown at the mine? Oh yeah, the beginning of this episode.
The
Dumb.
Riot control.
Gosh.
But some of the stuff you said did kind of. You said that Navarro was going to have to pick sides between the mining people and the native people.
Yeah.
You had a couple things in there.
She bonked to that one cop.
Yeah.
Also, the way that like there was that one cop, I couldn't keep from laughing because he just like is in his riot control and he's holding on to someone and then his whole body is shaking. Really? But he's not even shaking the person. And but that person is shaking themselves.
They're both just shaking
themselves. And they just
themselves.
stop grabbing each other and then he grabs onto another dude and like it was like I was just like, who taught this person how to act? Like it was like rather than really wrestle, just shake yourselves while holding on to each other. And I was just like, this is awful, dude.
You're supposed to be shooting each other.
Yeah, you're supposed to be clobbering.
Yeah, we don't want to see like a well-maintained perimeter. Like we don't want to see like a textbook riot control situation. We want to see all hell breaking loose.
Exactly.
We want to see like something wild
True
happen.
Detective, guys.
And it didn't even get that wild. Like, listen, we lived through 2020. We just watched riot videos every damn day.
That was a mostly peaceful protest for what I saw.
Yeah, dude, that was the peacefullest protest I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah.
Come on.
I also don't know what happened to make them snap. Why did the like was it just that they got hit with a bottle of dirty water?
Something like that, but just like, and then it was crap payoff, and
it was bad. There should have been a big, like the fact that the miners just like got to squeeze by them and go inside to work behind. I was like, lame.
Yep, it's all lame. And the girl's girlfriend,
Sherry,
ditched her.
Yeah,
ditched her.
Wow,
dirty.
What a payoff to that storyline. Yeah. What a payoff to the protest storyline. I'm sure we'll get. No, I'm not sure. I was going to say, I'm sure we'll get a little bit better of a conclusion to that in the next episode. Nope. Also, Leah, still absolutely a freaking dingus.
Trash.
What, Mom? You're letting me go to jail? You mean you're going to make me experience the consequences to my actions?
Oh, my God. And then...
Because didn't she clobber... She hit like one of those officers.
Yeah,
like
she assaulted an officer.
And then that guy turned around and was like,
whapped her with his nightstick.
Which I'm not saying that was the right reaction. Those guys seemed a little overzealous. Maybe the poison in the water, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna be like, I'm also just like, you're really complaining that your mom's gonna let you go to jail? Dude, one of the best things I ever saw was this girl cry about getting pulled over by the cops at a gas station, and it says my dad's a cop, and like he shows up, like she's under arrest, she's in the back of the car, and he's like, all right, is she okay though? She didn't hurt anyone, and she's not hurt. They're like, no, she's fine. She hit a pole.
She was drunk.
Yeah, she was drunk. And like he goes up to her and he's like, honey, you're going to jail. And she's like, Daddy. And he's like, you're going to jail. I will bail you out tomorrow, but you're going to jail tonight. Yeah. And it's just like, there are consequences to your actions. We'll go to court. We'll deal with this. I am not going to lose my job or put my job at risk to get you out of your consequences.
Yeah. Or even like he would jeopardize his job to take care of his daughter. But the best thing he could do to take care of his daughter,
let her experience those consequences.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and
people were like, I've heard people be like, how, if you had a heart and if you knew what jail was like, you would never allow your child to go there. I'm like, no, I do know what it's like.
Prison.
I spent a lot of time there.
No.
And like
jail.
I would fight to keep my child from going like into the system. You know, I would try to get them a good lawyer. But here's the thing, bro.
Like one night sitting in there.
If my kid gets in a drunken bar fight, and they're like, he beat the snot out of a dude, but you know, it's just the way it is. He's got to cool off here, and we're gonna have a court for assault charges. I'm like, all right, tight. Well, I'll come get him in the morning, I guess.
Yep.
Let's bail that. Yeah. Oh shit! All right, I'll get him in a couple weeks. We'll wait for that payday.
Get him on Monday. Oh my goodness! And so then, golly gee darn willikers, these kids these days. Oh, are we supposed to be connected to Leah? Are we supposed to be connected to the protesters? Because here's the deal. I don't know if like other viewers are like really vibing on her. They're really connected to her.
I haven't seen one thing on the Reddit of like, I really like Leah. Everyone is like, Leah and Kayla, worst people in the show.
Because the line that my least favorite line of it was when she looked at her mom and said, Liz, I haven't given up on you yet.
Yeah. Like,
what the hell are you talking about? It was the most arrogant, effed up thing. It was giving me serious Rey and Luke Skywalker vibes when they're on the island and she like all of a sudden magically learns the Force and just puts the greatest master down of all time and just walks over him.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember the feeling you felt inside of yourself? Did you feel feelings or at that point were you just totally giving up on it?
I don't know. I don't want to think about when I watch that movie. But I've seen it once.
The point being like this like arrogant young generation of like, you are idiots, you don't get it, you don't know anything about the world, and I have personally arrived to enlightenment, and someday you'll get there too.
You know what? Honestly, I do think that Danvers, as a mother, has overstepped a little bit in her daughter's ability to self-identify. And we know why. We know it doesn't come down to race. We know it has nothing to do with racial disdain or hate towards those, like towards the Inupiaq or anything like that. We know what Danvers does feel, though, is a sense of fear that if her daughter identifies as part of that culture, then she might become a victim the same way those other individuals become victims, right? She might become an Annie K.
Yep.
And that is a fear I recognize and I understand that a parent can have. At the same time, I do think Danvers was overzealous in that, like, it went from, Leah, I'm concerned that you might die like the other ones I've seen die, murdered at the hands of abusive husbands, alcoholic boyfriends, murdered in a shaft and left to die, like left to rot until someone found her. Like, these women don't have a lot of people defending them. And I want to protect you because I know I can't protect all of them. And I know I can't protect you if you totally like get consumed into this culture. That could have been a way more adult conversation that Leah probably would have responded well to then. Like, I told you to wipe that shit off your face, you ungrateful bitch. Like, you know, like, it's just like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. So like you're overstepping as a mom out of fear and as a widow. You know what I mean? So I can see what's going on here. All that said, Leah also She's a teenager. We can't expect too much. But she's also one of the brattiest, most entitled, arrogant, nearsighted people I've ever seen in fictional media. And the fact that she was like arguing with her mom about child pornography on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When her mom's literally a cop and like could tell her like, I cannot save you if someone decides to charge you for filming that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter what your age is.
Yep.
You have that on your phone. You are going, like, you recorded yourself with an underage minor. Doesn't matter that you're an underage minor. You're both screwed.
Oh yeah.
That's distribution, bro. You're both like, if anyone wants to charge you for that, you can face serious stuff. And I just like thinking like the way she was like, what did she even say to her? She was like, in the car in the first episode, she's like, we didn't even have sex. I'm like, it doesn't matter, you dumbass.
You can't.
Like, it's illegal no matter what. And so it was just one of those things. Like, she's one of the worst characters. And Kayla's just as bad, dude. Like,
and she even had a line yet?
Yeah. No, she did. She just like, tells him like, you're not, go home, go away, get out, move out. I've been waiting up. Would it kill you to be at home?
Yeah.
I posted on Reddit asking a question for some theories, and one of the questions that came up in it was, who do you think's awake? Who is she supposed to be? And someone was like, Kayla waiting up to bitch at Pryor when he gets into bed. And I was like, incredible. That's incredible comment. I hope it is Kayla. I mean, I hope it is Kayla in the end.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be so good. But anyways, all right. I've rambled on. I thought the ending was great in that like the last 10 minutes felt like, ooh, again, last 10 minutes plot moves forward.
Mm-hmm.
Otis died like a boss, dude, like a G.
Yeah.
Seeing what I've been seeing for the last several weeks, I too just respect Otis for being like, this is bullshit, I'm getting out of here.
Yep.
Die like a hero, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, I think that the last couple minutes had some good stuff. Otherwise, there was a lot of big waste on the whole show. And I wonder too if there's like, are there writers and like set designers and people who are like too involved, like too complicated in their own little tiny theories of stuff, where they're like, oh, in the background of this one scene, we're gonna put something that's like super like hard to find, but it speaks to this thing from the first episode, and like it's just so like over thought out. Like in some of where you're just not even. I'm not giving them too much credit, like they're geniuses. I'm just saying I know where people can get like too into their own little worlds of the story, and then it just doesn't. It's all an inside joke, or like it's all an inside baseball.
Sure.
Right. And then like nobody else knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I think some of that's going on. And then like the spiral has been further devalued, where it's just like all of a sudden randomly like the stone shows back up with the spiral, and some dude's just like,
yeah, Kai was like, here's this dude who told me something that I literally could have come and told you is just one sentence, but I brought him here anyways. And he's like, yeah, I seen that. To where not to go to hunt. Yeah,
it's like because you'll fall in ice holes.
Okay, wow,
and
Kavik, you couldn't have just said that.
and he says too, like you'll fall in the night country ice holes. Yeah. You're like, so does everybody know about this night country thing?
Night country.
What is the night country?
Why doesn't Danvers or Navarro know about that?
Hey, what's going on here?
Did you see who came in behind that guy though, in the laundromat? Yeah,
Choppy,
Two Fingers Blair,
Stubby McGee,
dude, Two Finger Blair, bro. Yeah, I think it's sad. It's kind of a bummer, but ultimately we kind of get what we expect when the writing was there on the wall a long time ago. And I think it's one of those things where like this could have been a great show, but that podcast that we talked about where Issa Lopez was like, yeah, this was a show I was writing anyways, and they just wanted to put True Detective on it for views. That came out months before this season came out. And it was just like, we should have known then. But also, dude, I've been seeing Issa Lopez get like praised. People are on like Twitter and Instagram telling her like, leave it to Issa Lopez to come in and do a white man's job better than anyone could. Way to give it to him, like my Latina sister or something like that. And bro, like all these people are just tearing apart because like, okay, but Italians are white, French people are white, German people are white. but Spanish people aren't white.
Right.
And like you see Issa Lopez, and I'm like,
you know, like the conquistadors.
I'm like Issa Lopez looks like the people who took America away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
Like, if you really want to get into history, be like, you know, if you want to be all revisionist, like the great rapists of South America. You know, like whatever, like, you know, like whatever.
It's just one of those things too. Like when you see it, and like, I mean, that like logic in of itself, I think is very self-defeating. I'm like, is that like, I don't think a show can be good when you have people who are using it as a justification for why, like them being better than someone, because it's not about writing at all. Nick Pizzolatto did a really great years ago, like interview behind the screen where he talked about, he's like, what you have to do is stop being someone's assistant or like assistant writer, assistant whatever. What you need to do is to find somewhere where you have the cheapest overhead expenses possible. You need to live there until you're a good writer. And in writing needs to be everything. And this idea that like you got to wiggle your way into Hollywood, like you have to be this person's assistant and this person's assistant, and then you get to be this person's assistant writer, and then yada yada yada, and then you get your shot. Someone will read you. He's like, no, they want to monetize you. They want to take what you have and make money off of it. He's like, so if you are bringing them the best thing, you will get in. You will get money.
Yep.
If you are not bringing them the best thing, you have almost no shot. And like that's what he did. Is like he pretty much lived destitute for a little while, and then he wrote like 6 pilot episodes, and one of those pilots was True Detective. And when he submitted the script, they're like, yeah, let's do this one. And he's like, all right, cool. So he wrote out the rest of, he like wrote season 1 and season 2 within a year.
It just knocked him out.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too. While all True Detective characters throughout the whole universe of it are all flawed individuals and they play on humanity, which is why people love it, there's also been strong males.
Yeah.
And strong females all throughout.
For sure, dude.
And strong minority individuals all throughout.
Yep.
And so why is it that if you do a season where you just only elevate or only do, you know, strong female and strong, like, you know, minority roles, that now you're celebrated instead of being someone who's like, no, I'm just going to take humans and we're going to show like their strengths and weaknesses and write a really good story.
Yep.
Instead of this, what they've done here with lots of pandering, where it's like, was I shocked or surprised that like that there was like immediately a lesbian teenage role in this? No.
And I thought,
you know,
maybe, you know, fool me once, shame on me. No, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think for me, like when I saw that relationship, I was like, okay, that's for the quota. The rest of the show, though, could easily just be, I was like, I'm going to suspend my disbelief here of what the last several years have taught me about anything made by a woman that's a minority who wrote and directed it.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the original author's work, right? I'm gonna be like, everything is telling me that this is gonna be not good.
Yeah.
but I'm gonna give it an opportunity. I want to give it a shot. I want to give it a chance. And I really feel like I did, and I really was defending the show hardcore until episode 4. And then I just felt the wind go out of me. I agree with you, bro. It's like, and this is another thing, which Reddit is like one of the most far left leaning liberal places in the world, which is why I find it shocking that so many people are speaking out and getting like upvotes with these views. But like people are like, don't you think it's a sign of perhaps your agenda backfired when everyone is wishing they had more time with the closest thing to 2 male leads in the series, and everyone's favorite characters in those series are the background male like characters, even one who's supposed to be like unredeemable bad guy, we still want more time with, and no one could care less about hearing your leads be the awful characters that they are,
right? Which
just sucks, because I do think like, I don't know, I want to believe that Navarro's actress Tali, is it Tali? No, I can't remember what her last name was, but her and Danvers Jodie Foster, like, I think they could be good actresses. I mean, I know Jodie Foster is a good actress. She's won a lot of stuff, right? And she's made some really great movies and shows. But it just feels like they weren't, I mean, even their dialogue with each other feels like they're not even in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't care what you are, who you are.
Yeah.
Whatever the thing is, there can be great, I just want good characters.
Yeah.
And then you can have those. But
I would legit watch a True Detective season where the lead is a cross-dressing cop as long as they're written well.
yeah.
That could honestly be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
That could be such a crazy, weird season that I'm just like, whatever.
We're like, okay, so, William Dafoe in, in the Irish.
Yeah.
The night, Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints,
you know what I mean? Like,
that was like the first time I saw.
Like two men kissing.
But like that was like the first time I think it's the first time and the only time I've ever seen a man cross dress
right
on screen and think that was badass by the end of it. Like even White Chicks isn't badass. White Chicks is just funny.
Mm-hmm.
And Willem Dafoe's like fake Russian mail order prostitute or whatever character at the end of Boondock Saints, you're like, this is funny. Just like John Travolta in Hairspray, funny. But dude, by the end of that movie, you're like, Willem Dafoe was a badass right there.
Oh yeah,
that was incredible.
Oh.
And the way he's like whipping the wig around, like as he's like looking over his shoulder at these heels, I was like, that's insane, bro. How cool this seems.
Oh yeah, and and we like, he was a gripping character.
Yep,
played by a good actor, and he was written well. So, all right, they only get one more chance to
redeem it.
Not to redeem it, but just to wrap it up.
Yeah, dude.
Just to wrap it up. So what's going to happen here? What do you think is do you have any out there theories anymore? You're just going to,
I'm afraid the writing's on the wall, and it seems more than likely than anything that so much is not going to make sense and just be like, ooh, that's part of the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they're going to justify this, but it seems more and more likely to me that Navarro has split personality disorder, and she's supposed to represent she's like a version. I don't think she's really a deity, right, or anything like that, right? But I do believe that the tribal women see her as a manifestation of Sedna, especially because Sedna in her lore ends up marrying a wolf and rejecting any other male suitors that are possible contenders. Kavik's full name is Eddie Kavik. Edward means good friend. Kavik is Inupiaq for Wolverine, I believe.
And he's got all those huskies.
And he's got all those dogs. And he's just a big old friendly fuzzy dude.
Yeah.
So all that said, I think that in the end, it's going to be her that did something. Jodie Foster's going on stuff saying like this whole season's about Navarro's journey. And I'm like, my character's just there to support it. And then the early reviews that it came out said that the mystery felt like it had been reasonably telegraphed. So for me, I'm just like, I don't know. It's that or it's Blair. I think Blair would be better. Blair is way more subtle in vein of like previous True Detective seasons, right? However, I don't think there's anything they could do to wrap up the spiritualism hallucinations very well.
We don't have any more polar bears. We don't know much more about like Danvers' son history and the connection with Navarro to that case and, whatever.
One theory I did hear was that she is some kind of gas vein that was struck in the mine. And that she's awake is an allusion to like some kind of, I don't know, gas coming out of the mine. And that gas was the original reason that Annie K was killed. She got like, I don't know. I have no idea. All I'm saying is like, there's a lot of theories out there. Everything feels like it's got a shred of evidence.
Everything's got a shot at this point.
Yeah. My personal favorite.
Yeah.
This is my theory. She is a woolly mammoth frozen in the tundra ice. And as she's been thawed out, she's got a bacterial or virus, whatever that is on the loose, driving people crazy. She looks alive because as she thaws, she's got like blood that looks like it's trickling into the water stream or whatever.
All right.
Do I think that's likely? No, but I like that one a lot. I read it, and I read a white paper on it too, of how scientists have been able to resuscitate viruses frozen in tundra, frozen in mammoth wool and wolf organs.
Oh, wow.
That was already like 50,000 years old.
All right.
So it's just like, if that's what, I'd be, you know what? Fine. You want to get that wacky? Cool. Let's go there. Let's get that wacky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What about you? Any closing thoughts, theories that you have for next episode?
I think that, it's probably the cleaning ladies who Blair with her finger killed the scientists in retribution for covering up the pollution for the mine. So, because we got that revealed in this last episode that Salal has been doing the environmental impact reports, and they've been, fudging them so that the mine can keep operating. And then we've got all these stillborn children. And so it's the native women kind of took it into their own hands and killed the scientists. But I think it is going to end also with like, there is no supernatural. There is actually no cult. Like there really is like, I don't know if we're even going to know who murdered Annie.
Yeah.
Like there's no good suspect for it.
Which, like, let's just say this. Let's say those cleaning ladies killed the scientists.
Yeah.
That makes them so evil. Like, don't you think it'd make more sense to kill the mining people?
I bet
the scientists I bet the scientists were just getting paid to like fudge the reports while still doing science and their job. So why murder them? That's not going to stop the mine.
Right.
Like that's just going to like eventually there's going to be enough scientists out here to verify the pollution.
Right.
Because they're afraid of getting murdered.
Right. So who knows? And then the Tuttle piece, I don't know if there's going to be a payoff to that.
That felt like freaking bait.
They're just
drop Tuttle's name in the second episode.
Oh, we can also add Tuttle again.
That hurt.
And so that's it. Unless there's a season 2, which I don't think is going to happen.
There shouldn't be.
But that would be the only way to if they leave us with a cliffhanger, leave us hanging on what's going on to set us up. But I doubt that's the case. So
there's just so much better content. Like season 1 of House of Dragons was phenomenal. I was skeptical at first, but about like halfway through the season, it won me over. And there's just like other stuff on HBO that's just leagues better. And one of those things, man, dude, you see this in front of me right now, Pat? This is crow. Now I'm eating it. I'm eating crow, dude. Do you know the expression?
I do.
Okay.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to repent for your.
I do want to repent. I want to repent.
Your shiz talking.
I talked smack about season 2 because I'd only ever watched episode 1 and never reeled me in. I thought it was boring compared to season 1, and I realize now after binging it with my wife this last weekend, season 2 is one of the best seasons of TV I've ever watched. Like, oh my gosh, my wife and I. So moved and shocked by the characters and the pacing of season 2. Didn't feel like there's too many characters. Felt like everyone had their story. Felt like it was tight, driven, didn't meander on anything. And at the end, everything felt fair. Like there was pain, but at the end of it, it felt fair. And in watching it, I was just like, oh my gosh, just like his dad said. And it was so powerful. And it's weird when you see a bad man on TV and you think, if I can be half as strong as he is.
Yeah.
Like if I can be half as determined and like good, which is weird. Cause like you see like Ray and Paul and Frank and don't get me wrong. Antigone's character, they call her Annie, but Antigone played by Rachel McAdams, flawed, redeemed individual for sure. But what I'm talking about is like among the men leads, they're all kind of bad dudes or dudes that are struggling with things. Paul's more of like a man struggling against himself, but in no way a bad guy. But each one of them I saw and I was like, I just want to be that strong when I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them were bad dudes, like flawed people in one way. And I think that's really good writing. The really good writing is like, God, you never want to see a character and be like, God, I hope I never break like them. You want to see a bad character and think like, man, I hope I get up. Like if this bad dude can get up, I hope I have more to fight for in my life that I could get up. And Rachel McAdams' character, just like perfect example of writing a female lead. Because I would argue she was a lead just as much as anyone else was. Perfect way of writing a lead who's a badass, funny, you can totally get behind, not annoying, not overbearing, not like talking down on men for being dummies that think with their wieners. Just a great character overall. And bro, dude, like the surprise I got, you know, like from some of her responses, like felt witty, felt intelligent, felt real, you know? So all that said, season 2 is phenomenal. 8 episodes. They're tight episodes. Holy smokes, I predicted almost everything to the T for like especially the last 90 minutes for, you know, episode 8 and episode 7. I was pretty much on the ball with those predictions from like episode 3. But it never felt like I was like, yeah, that was bad writing. I knew it from the get-go.
Right.
I was like,
so they misdirect? I think stuff was changing. You're not sure.
Yeah. And it felt like they were telegraphing enough for me to have theories. And I felt like I paid attention and I was rewarded for paying attention by the end of it. Not that I had predicted everything. So anyways, all I said, I'm really trying not to spoil anything because season 2 is so good. And if you're like me, you may have just heard skip season 2 of True Detective. Don't skip it. It's really good. It's really, really, really good. Totally different than season 1 in regards to like character study and the point it's making.
Because what a lot of people did was they got done with season 1.
Yeah.
And like they just went straight. They were a late True Detective fan, so that they watched it like after season 2 had come out. They like watched it and then just went straight to season 2 and were like, this isn't the same thing. Like, you know, and pulled out. Yeah. I think is what happened for a lot.
Well, I think it was also one of the like actual like first anthology series. You know what I mean? Like it came out before Black Mirror, before people were used to like anthology series and like not continuing storylines.
Right.
And I think a lot of people really thought season 2 was going to be more of like a connected like cult and Tuttles and stuff. And what it really was like, yeah, like no matter how good you are, there's like a lot of evil in the world and it's a hard fight.
Yep.
And and like, you know, it opens up with that quote, I think, stare into the abyss stares back into you. I can't remember if that's a quote that it opens with or if it's just mentioned. But I think that's what you see. Like, no matter how good you are, when you're fighting against ultimate powerful evil, you will get corrupted in one way or another. And it will cost you. Yeah, and season 2 just, I felt like did that perfectly. And my wife and I were both just like, how was this the worst?
Yeah.
Like, because this is clearly phenomenal. And now having seen season 2, I think season 2 might be better than season 3. And it might go, you know, in order of best to like worse. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 like way down below. Way down below.
Oh man.
Anyways.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait till next week and see what the answers are they give us. Because we're not waiting for
I just don't even know.
To be satisfied.
I don't even know if it can get. I don't even know if this series as a whole can get past a 1 thumbs down for me. Like with 1 episode left.
Yeah.
It might be able to get to no thumbs. Like take it or leave it.
Yep.
But I don't know if it can, like, these next 90 minutes have to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. They really need like 3 hours.
Yeah.
If they were going to really pull something out. So we'll see. We'll see, I guess.
Alrighty. Well, hey, Ken, thanks for joining us. We hope you got to get a little bit of some Bloodaxe ale and get to drink that and enjoy it with us. Go to check out, see if you get anything else that we reviewed from the show from Trve Brewing. All of it's been pretty good. Other than that, we're all in this together. We'll suffer together. And we'll see you next week after we watch the finale of True Detective Season 4.
Till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.